I'm not ready at all. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How wonderful. How beautiful is this? For the benefit of people watching online, and also for your benefit in here, when people watch us online, the only view they get is of the platform. We are not showing any of the congregation. But for the benefit of people watching and joining us in online, either home or abroad, the church is full. It's great. It's absolutely lovely.
Capacity crowd.
I know. So thank you for joining us here at Paul Church today. As you're all well aware, we have an absolutely exceptional worker for spirit, the lovely Mark Stone. And when I say lovely, I mean it in every sense. He's absolutely lovely.
Oh, bless you.
So I will now, as my mug says, stop waffling Lawrence. How rude. Just for the people, I was presented with a mug this morning and emblazoned across it, it says, "Stop waffling Lawrence." I'm going to have to change congregations, I think, starting with. So now we're together in that lovely energy of love and laughter and light. We will commence our divine service. And I'd like to invite Mark up to open our service with a blessing. Thank you, Mark.
Everybody, let us just for a moment close our eyes, but open our hearts and minds in prayer. Gracious and divine Spirit, as we join together this morning for this service, allow us for a moment to step aside from daily life, to enter into the peace and the stillness and the healing power of this sanctuary and of this moment. Allow us in this time of stillness to consider the Spirit within, to become aware of the light and the power that we are, to know that we are an infinite being of light. Let us, as we sit here together, and build the power not only for the healing that we all share in, but also building that power for our spirit friends to come and join us and to make their presence known, proving to us that life is eternal and that the bonds of love unite us from this world to the next. And as always, as we sit here, we ask that we are all instruments of that healing power, that we may channel that love and healing to each and every person here, to all of those who we know, to the world as a whole, and to allow that great love and that great light to be felt, not only within our heart and within our being, but also to reach out to the hearts, minds and bodies of all humanity. Allow us to be an instrument for healing. Allow us to be an instrument for change. And so, as always, we place ourselves and our service in your hands, in your care and keeping for this hour to come, knowing that all that is said and done is said and done in the truth, the love, and the light of Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mark. Absolutely beautiful. Now, if you care to, please join in with saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thine will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And leave us not when in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. Thank you. We now divert our attention, our will, our focus, our energies into the art and the act of healing. As I always say, each and every one of us are healers, because each and every one of us can send out love, and love is another name for healing. That healing energy which flows from the centre of all creation, there flowing unbounded for us to tap into, to direct our thoughts to others, to nations, to the environment, the world, ourselves. It matters not. You go where your heart leads you, and just sit for this next few minutes with the gentle music playing, just sending out that thought to bring about healing. And never confine your healing, saying, I want healing to manifest as this. Just trust that as you send out those healing thoughts, healing will be given and received in accordance with all the needs and all the wills that are available. So we leave you alone now just for this short time. Now just gently, gently return back to the place from where you started, but always sending out your thanks and your gratitude for this time to enable you to link in with that spirit within and express that unasking love for all things. Amen. I'd now like to hand over to Mark for his reading and philosophy today. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Lawrence. Good morning, everyone. The piece I'd like to read from you this morning is from a book that I'm sure many of you have seen in the past, a book called Chicken Soup for the Soul, which is a beautiful collection of different people's writings, inspirations. And the piece I'd like to read for you is by Sherry Carter Scott, called The Rules for Being Human. Number 1, you will receive a body. You may like it or you may hate it, but it will be yours for your entire period of this time around. Number 2, you will learn lessons. You are enrolled in a full-time informal school called life. Each day in this school, you will have the opportunity to learn lessons. You may like the lessons, or you may think them irrelevant and stupid. Number 3, there are no mistakes, only lessons. Growth is a process of trial and error, experimentation. The failed experiments are as much a part of the process as the experiment that ultimately works. Number 4, a lesson is repeated until learned. A lesson will be presented to you in various forms until you have learned it. And when you have learned it, you can then go on to the next lesson. Number 5, learning lessons does not end. There is no part of life that does not contain its lessons. If you are alive, there are lessons to be learned. Number 6, there is no better than here. When your there has become here, you will simply obtain another there that you will again think looks better than here. Number 7, others are merely mirrors of you. You cannot love or hate something about another person unless it reflects something you love or hate about yourself. Number 8, what makes your life is up to you. You have all the tools and resources that you need. What you do with them is up to you. The choice is yours. Number 9, the answers lie inside you. The answers to life's questions already lie within you. All you need to do is look, listen, and trust. And number 10, you will forget all this. Now, one of the things that I've observed in 30 years of working on platform and 47 years of being a spiritualist is how there is a lot of focus on development of awareness, mediumship, healing, psychic awareness, things like that. And a lot of people come into their search almost looking to become something. And when I was a kid in spiritualism, what used to perplex me was the amount of people who were sorting out everybody else's lives. So healers that were healing on people, people that were giving readings to people and guiding them in their life. And I would often notice and think, how weird is this that the healer that's healing that person is in a worse state than the person that they're healing? You don't often say that in a group, do you, without getting away with it? And then I'd look at the people who were giving guidance and readings about how to live your life and how to move through life. And then I'd look at that person's life and think, Christ, your life is in a worse state than the person you're advising. And it started to make me wonder how much of development is actually about what we do for other people and how much actually is focused on our personal and self-development. Because if we are going to develop as a medium or as a healer or just even developing in our own lives, moving forward in our own lives, it's no use just saying, well, I'm going to talk to the other world and it's all going to be great because the other world are all going to do it for me. We've actually got to start to learn to talk to the spirit within. We've got to learn to become more and more aware of who and what we are and look at the fact that we ultimately are continually evolving, continually learning, and can have the capacity to continually change. That we are not a fixed being. You know, there used to be an expression, a quote, which was, you know, give me a child till the age of 7 and I'll show you the man. That yes, our formative years may have shaped us and moulded us in certain ways. Our teenage years, our 20s, our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, however far we need to go up to, have had an effect and changed who we are and moulded who we are. But we are not then stuck at that place. We are still and always have in each and every day the capacity to change. How many of you here made a New Year's resolution? Go have a little show of hands. A few of you. Well, I'd suggest you get rid of New Year's resolutions, because if you're only going to make a choice to change one day a year, and it's not going to last till the end of the month, because we all know you buy those gym memberships and then you don't go. It's too cold, I can't go, I'm not going to do it. The things we're going to do, why are we waiting? Why are we putting off? Again, we had a little joke in the hallway and said, I'm all right, it's everyone else that's the problem. The only problem is, if that's the quote you're saying, everyone has one common denominator, you. So we need to have a little look at that expression. But the development of ourself and our self-awareness is so key and so important. The recognition that we can change and alter the way that we think, the way that we feel, the way that we work, the way that we respond and act to things. Have you met people that say, I can't help it, that's just the way I am? Well, they can help it, but they're choosing not to. To excuse a behaviour that's a bad behaviour or an uncaring behaviour, well, that's just the way I am, that's just the way life's made me. Well, we've all been moulded and shaped by things in life, but it doesn't mean we have to just accept that's who we are and what we are. We can evolve, we can change. The spirit world will not dictate to you how to change, how to alter. The spirit world won't dictate to you where you should go and what you should do. Often people will say, well, I want the spirit world to tell me what I should do and where I should go. And the spirit will come back with, do what makes you happy. Lovely and enigmatic, very unhelpful. But what it says to you is you have to look within you. What is it that brings you joy? What is it that brings you happiness? What is it that maybe you're unhappy with now that you should change? What is it that maybe is a weakness within you that you could work on making a little better? There's nothing wrong in life in recognising the faults and the frailties that are within us. And then saying, this is something I've got to work on. Maybe you have the condition where mouth is moving before brain is engaged. And after you've said stuff, you've gone, oh, why did I say that? What was I thinking? Then maybe you can work on that you actually take a moment. Sometimes when I'm teaching, I say to people, here's a thing to do. When someone says something that normally you react to, stop, take a breath, think about what your next move is, and then choose how to react or not react at all. Because sometimes someone's only pushing a button to see if they can get a rise out of you. To actually say, do you know what, this is not something I want to enter into. Or to choose to be truthful, but to be truthful and kind, rather than truthful and cutting. Again, I've heard people say, do you know, I'm so truthful, I lose friends over it. Now, unfortunately, it's a Sunday morning, so I can't tell you my normal reaction to that. But the fact that I normally say is, well, it's not because you're truthful, it's because you're being a certain way. And you're choosing to be negative in that response. It's not, we can be truthful and kind, we can be truthful and supportive, we can be truthful and loving. We don't have to cut someone off at the knees thinking that I'm just being truthful. We can be truthful and gentle in our way. We can be supportive and caring. These are things we can all develop and things that we all need to develop. Look at how we've gone through a time in this last 2 years that hopefully has changed the way that we respond to other people. As we come back out and to see all these lovely people in person rather than sort of captured in a screen, how lovely it is to be with them and to give them our time and our smile and our happiness and our joy, and to actually start to notice the people that are there, to talk to people rather than to sit there going, I don't want to talk to anyone and nobody talk to me and I'll just be in my own little space. To actually start to connect to people. And sometimes we may think, I'm too frightened to connect to people, and what if people don't like me, and what if I don't fit in, what if I say the wrong thing? You won't know unless you try. And as we learn to grow, as we learn to communicate with that spirit within? How do you talk to yourself? We all have our own little inner dialogues when we're doing things. We all tell ourselves off. We all give ourselves a bit of a hard time about things. But how do you talk to yourself? Do you encourage yourself? Do you support yourself? Are you kind to yourself? Or are you a slave driver and a taskmaster? Are you a controlling figure in your own life that doesn't give an inch, and that the best simply, if it's not the best, it simply won't do? These are things that are not good for us. Each and every one of you has greatness within you, has unlimited potential within you. That's what the spirit world teach us. You know, we have a body, we may not like it, but the body's only the vehicle. The body may be in whatever state of repair. It doesn't have to limit you or hold you back. That's your choice. You can choose to be limited. You can choose to be restricted. You know, there are remarkable stories of people who have gone through terrible physical trauma to their bodies, but yet have still excelled in whatever they've chosen to excel at. What is the difference? Their state of mind, the way they choose to believe in something. I'll give you an example. Many years ago, I was very lucky to give a talk at a police conference, which is, you might think, what on earth were you doing? It wasn't anything to do with psychic detection or anything like that. It was about meditation and stress relief within the workplace. So I was going and teaching about meditating. So getting all of these coppers to sit there and go, Om. Well, we didn't do oms, but, you know, get the gist. But their keynote speaker was a lady called Janet Gray, who was an Olympic, Paralympic skier. Now, her story was truly remarkable in many, many ways. And sitting there, it puts life in perspective. Because she said, when I was 18, I woke up one morning and I went blind overnight. I lost my sight and was told it was permanent. There was nothing that could be done to restore my sight. And at this point, she was already a water skier. She loved water skiing. And they said, well, now you're blind, you won't be able to do things like jumps because you won't be able to see when you're going to land, you know, at speed. So you can do sort of skiing on the flat, you could do the odd ski trick, but there's your limitation now. That's because of the blindness, that's what's going to happen. She was away on a training camp with a group of male water skiers, and they started to rib her and said, well, you know, Janet, the reason that you can't do ski jumps isn't because you're blind, it's because you're a woman. And as you can imagine, to a fiery Irish redhead, she didn't take that very well. And so without telling her husband, because he was not there at the time, she decided she was going to start doing the ski jumps. And she successfully did it. And she went into the Paralympics and won gold and set world records. A few years later, she was on a training camp in America. Her husband was back in Ireland. They ran a water ski school, training people. And during a practice session in the States, the driver of the boat kind of lost a bit of control of the boat, and she was slung at like 70 miles an hour into the side of a water ramp. Now, bear in mind, we would see something coming. She had no idea. And it was like being in a car crash without anything around you. And it basically smashed the entire side of her body. Every organ, every bone was smashed. She was taken to hospital and put in intensive care, and her husband was phoned and said, you need to get here, but we need to make you aware you're going to have to arrange to fly the body back because she won't survive. She did survive. And she was in a wheelchair because literally every part of her body had been smashed. And she was told, well, you know, you'll never be able to get out of the wheelchair. This is your life now. She got out of the wheelchair and started walking. Well, you'll get out of the wheelchair and you are walking around. But of course, with the damage that your body's experienced, you'll never be able to get back on the water. She got back on the water. Well, you may be able to get back on the water, Janet, but, you know, at the end of the day, you'll never be able to compete in the way you did because of the damage that your body has experienced. She went back into competing. She went back to the Paralympics. She not only got gold, but she broke all of her own world records. So when you consider the adversity that she experienced, she didn't allow it to stop her from changing and growing and moving beyond. And when we consider sometimes how easily that we give up on something because, it's a bit too much effort. You know, I could change, but you know what? It's a bit tough, innit? You know, it's not it's you know, to read this book. How many people here buy books on self-help and go, God, that's a really good book, and then it sits on a shelf? It's what we call shelf help. It sits on a shelf, but it does no use, sat on a shelf. Unless it's read, unless it's taken on board, unless you apply it. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but unless you read it, unless you apply it, unless you do something with it, nothing changes. You can go out on the 1st of January, go, right, health kick, I'm going to buy all my greens and my veg, and I'm going to buy all these super antioxidants, and I've gone down to Holland and Barrett, and I've bought me green stuff and mineral and multivitamin, and then they sit in the corner of the kitchen. They just sit there, and you keep looking at them every morning and going, I've got to get all of that done, haven't I? Oh, well, I'll start that tomorrow. And then we go, do you know what? I've started this health kick and nothing's changing. And all we've done is bought the stuff. We're not using any of it. We're not doing anything with it. So when are we going to start applying what we know? When are we going to start looking within and holding the mirror to ourselves and saying, do you know what? There are things I would like to change. There are things I would love to be different in the world. So they've got to start from in here. It's not out there, but in here. If I don't see peace in the world, am I at peace within? Possibly not. Can I find a peace? Can I find a stillness within me? Can I start to talk to myself in a way that is caring and compassionate and encouraging and supporting? And then that will start to be the way that I talk to other people. Rather than saying to people, oh, you want to do that? Oh, why would you want to do that? Oh, what? Do you know what that is? That's because that's how we talk to ourselves. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to change? Why would you? It's our own inner critic. It's our own inner voice. Once we can start to celebrate who and what we are, once we can stop trying to compare to everybody else, to support ourselves, to celebrate the uniqueness that we are, to celebrate all that we are and all that we can be. Because we know that we are a spiritual being. We know that we have all this great potential. It's wonderful to think, you know, we may have loads of people sat here that will be mediums and healers and will go out there and change individuals' lives. But actually, we have everybody sitting here who can do that in everyday life, should you wish. You don't have to be giving someone a message to touch their lives and make it better. You don't have to go up to someone and say, oh, Granny loves you. You were the apple of her eye. You meant everything to her and you're wonderful still. That's lovely. But actually, you can just go up to someone and say, do you know what? You look lovely today. How are you doing? And see someone. Actually see them. Talk to them. Acknowledge they exist. And take time to listen. To be compassionate. You know, some people turn around and say, oh, you know, I'm not very compassionate. You know, I find it difficult to connect to people. I'm sure at times we've all felt like that, but we can work on it. We can sit and spend a little time being more compassionate here to be more compassionate out there. You know, nobody's born with all the answers and it's all right and it's all correct and they're all perfect. This is a world of learning. This is a world where we are continually evolving. Unfortunately, what we have that makes us feel otherwise is a lot of things on social media. Those of you that don't do social media, well done. For the rest of us, well, we have to be a part of a world in certain ways. But you look at things, I hear students, especially people with great anxiety, and they say, oh, well, you see these people living their best life. Ever heard people say that? They're having such a good time, look at them. Oh, everything's perfect in their life. It's one photo of 1 second in a 24-hour day, one moment where they're snuggled with their child and their child is perfectly peaceful and joyful. The next minute, they were probably a screaming little raging, storm in the house. But for that 1 second, there was a perfect picture moment. A perfect picture moment with filters on it that makes it look better than it actually is. A perfect moment that may never be repeated. The problem is, though, we look at that and then think, why isn't my life there, the there and the here? Why isn't my life like that? Choose to make your life not because someone else, but because of what makes you happy, what makes you joyful. And don't let other people and other situations steal your joy. This is where our awareness of our own spirit within is so marvellous. Because we can sit and go within and start to question, what is it I really want? Who am I? Not the body, but who am I within? What is it I truly want and need and yearn for in my life? Who are the people I want around me? Who enriches my life and who doesn't? And start to change, not once a year, but every day. We take an opportunity, we take a moment to just tweak the little things in our life that could be a little better. To let go and to surrender to the things we cannot change that are outside of us, but change the things within us that are part of our control. And slowly, as we move through our life, each and every day sees a change which we may not notice, but others will. And people say, do you know what, you're so different now, and I can't quite put my finger on why. And it shows people have noticed the change. And we may notice that our life becomes a little bit more calm and peaceful, a little more happy, a little more focused, a little more contented. And that we start to see that reflected in the people around us. People giving us lovely gifts, no matter what they've got written on them. People giving us a compliment. How many times do you rebuff a compliment because you feel awkward to accept it? No, not me, it's oh. That tells us that inside we're not complimenting ourselves because we're uncomfortable to accept the love and the appreciation of another. Work on that. Tell people that you love them. Tell people, you don't have to tell people you don't like you love them because that's not going to be true. But those people that you care for, those people that you appreciate, tell them how much you appreciate them. Tell them how much you care. You know, one of the saddest things as a medium is when you hear people say, I wish I'd told you I loved you. And you think, that person's been in your life for a long period of time and never said it. Never said how they cared. And that has an effect. But that's what then the spirit world brings us. The closure sometimes. The things that we needed to hear. But now the spirit is free. It has that chance to say it. But let's not wait till we're over the other side to tell people how we feel. Let's not wait till we're over the other side to become a better version of ourselves. Let us work each and every day to be a better and brighter person, and above all else, a kinder person in this world. And I'll leave those thoughts with you, and I'll say God bless and good morning.
Mark, absolutely beautiful. Thank you. And I know you had the undivided attention of everybody in the church, which was also a wonderful act. So thank you. We have our first and only piece of music for the day now, which is Joyful, Joyful, We Adore You. If you wish to sing along with it, please do. If you just wish to sit and listen, absolutely fine. Remain seated during this song and enjoy it.
Joyful, joyful, we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee, owning to the sun above. Melt the clouds of sin and sadness, drive the dark of doubt away. Giver gladness, fill us with the light of day. All thy works with joy surround thee, earth and heaven reflect thy rays. Stars and angels sing around thee, center of unbroken praise. Field and forest, vale and mountain, flowery meadow, flashing sea, chanting bird and flowing fountain, call us to rejoice in thee. Thou art giving and forgiving, ever blessing, ever blessed, wellspring of the joy of living, ocean depth of happy rest. Thou the Father, Christ our brother, all who live in love are thine. Teach us how to love each other, lift us to the joy divine. Mortals join the mighty chorus, which the morning stars began. Father, love is reigning o'er us, brother, love binds man to man. Ever singing, march we onward, victors in the midst of strife. Joyful music lifts us onward in the triumph songs of life.
Do you know what? That's the first time I've actually heard you singing back in the church, and so grateful for it. You're finding your voices. Absolutely wonderful. And this is a part of the service where you need to find that voice once more to respond to your loved ones coming through. You know, if your parents or whoever walked through the door now, you wouldn't just go, you would be there and embrace them. And so through the mediumship of the wonderful Mark, we invite you now to join in that reunion, that joyful time of coming back together once more, and to hear and understand that truth that life is eternal for each and every one of us. So Mark, thank you.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you know how this works and how this goes, but for those of you that may be newer to the church, when a medium works, sometimes they know where they want to go, sometimes they don't, but if information comes and I've not gone directly to someone, or you hear it and you think, I know exactly who that is, please call out, raise your hand, and we'll work with you. If more than one of you puts your hand up for something, we're not going to send you home with the wrong relatives or friends from the spirit world. And it's important. It's a conversation. So as Lawrence said there, speak out. Your voice helps to give us that strength and that energy. I'm aware of a lady with me, and I hear the name, and it's an unusual name. We don't hear it that often these days, but I hear the name of Marlene being called, and I know with this lady that she would have been quite colourful, and she would have also worn things that were very, very colourful. And I know that she enjoys life, she enjoys the things of life, she enjoys the social events and social occasions. I'm not certain quite how this lady passed, but I'm aware that there were dizzy spells which had affected her for a while before she passed to the spirit world, and I feel that there may have been things to do with her heart that was not quite right here as well. Would that make sense to anyone? No? Great, wonderful start. I always love it when we get one of those as a starter. I don't feel this is a member of family. I feel this is a friendship connection going back. Would anyone here have connections to Lowestoft, which is going over onto the east coast, Great Yarmouth and Norfolk? You'd understand that. Would you understand about this name, this Marlene connection, though? It's ringing a bell, because I feel the connections with Lowestoft are going back quite a long time. They're not recent memories and recent connections. Hang on one second then. So you know people that connect to Lowestoft now? Yes. Okay. But this lady, I feel as if I've got to go back into the past for her, and I've got to go back with connections with her. And I know that I socialise with this lady. I enjoy times with her. It's not like it's a direct family member. It's a friendship connection. And I feel with her as well. Can I ask, I know we're by the sea here, and I know obviously Lowestoft is by the sea because it's near Great Yarmouth, but would you understand where there were social occasions where we would have gone out, where we're near the beach or we're near the sea and things like that, and we're enjoying being by that location? Okay, because I felt that this is the memory she's bringing and showing me that location as well for the coastal. And I know as well here then with her, if this is right, that she would have also been not only very bubbly, but if I say outspoken in a nice way. So you know when someone will say, oh, shame the truth and tell the devil, let's just be honest. But I'm doing it in a nice way. I'm doing it in a way that is caring. There's a little bit of ribbing that comes in with her because she knew how to play humour with people and and bring them fun. Good, okay. But I also feel as well that as she's doing this, she's wanting to kind of get you to have that light-heartedness around and within you towards yourself. And like we were talking about in the address, there is this feeling of saying, now come on, play nice with yourself, be nice, don't do that. And sometimes she would, in life, she must have picked you up on things that you'd say about yourself or how you'd approve of self. You understand that? And so she said, now don't say that. And then she'd put a compliment in behind it, say, look, this is how it is. Because I know that when you looked at her, she's kind of one of those people that lots of people want to be like because she seems carefree. But I know that what was underneath that carefreeness is there was a lot of things she had to deal with, but she didn't necessarily make them public knowledge. But she said, you know, I was always going to meet the world with a smile, and I was always going to go out there and make everyone enjoy being in my presence. Okay. I almost feel that she had this, and I don't mean this in an arrogant way, but she almost felt like she was like the Queen visiting anywhere. It was always going to be a special day. Wherever she went, we're going to enjoy everything, and we're going to get the best of everything. And I know that when I have that, I know it's not an arrogance. It's actually a case of we deserve the best. Okay. And I feel her just bringing this love, and I'm just seeing her this giant heart, and it's literally she gave her heart to everyone and everything. You know, love was unconditional. Okay, love was unconditional. Anything else before we leave? would you understand? I've got to be careful how I say that. Shaggy Dachshunds. You know the Dachshunds, the little sausage dogs, but that are long-haired rather than short. Now, I don't know whether they connect with her or they connect somewhere else, but I'm aware of seeing a couple of those dogs in the spirit world here. But you know where they were. That's okay, because I've just kind of seen them coming in with their shaggy coats and being in here, and I know that as I see that. Do you work with healing with animals? Have you? Okay, because I feel if that's I know we've all had a quiet time because of what's gone on, but have you wanted to get back into the flow of doing more of that? Can I just say to you, I feel that's why I'm seeing the dogs come in, because I feel as if I've got the animals from the spirit world coming in to bring and draw in the people with animals around you. Okay, and thank you for all that you do. And was Marlene the sort of person that people were sweethearts and darlings? Sweetheart. Yes. Okay, because it's not affected. That's how she refers to you. Okay, you're a sweetheart. Okay, so let me leave her love and her affection, and know that the animals will come flocking in. I like that. Lovely. Bless you. I'll leave that with you and say God bless. Right. Okay. My lady sitting at the back, you're wearing white and you've got a pair of glasses on your head. Hello there. Do you know what? She just had to check and go, have I? Good piece of advice whenever you go into a spiritualist church. Look at what you're wearing. I've got a gentleman that's drawing close here, but he's quite a quiet man. And as I'm aware of him, being quite quiet in life, not sullen, but just quiet. And I know that as I'm aware of him with this, in life you would have gone to him, talked to him, chatted, and in private we're very chatty and we really get on. But a lot of people would have just thought he was a very quiet man, and would have thought, well, he doesn't really say much, does he? But actually, when there's no need to talk, why do you need to? There's a bit, and he's quite matter of fact with anything. He said, well, unless there's something to chat about, it's just wasted air, it's wasted breath. But I know with this man, as I'm aware of him, this physical and emotional strength that he had, I know the physical strength started to leave him. And he found it very difficult to rely on the support of others here towards the end, because it's not the man he is, okay? But I know here, as he's talking about this, he's saying not in the physical way, but sometimes in the emotional way, you deflect the help as well from others, okay? If you needed him, you could go to him, you could talk to him, he would support you. Is this your grandfather, or is this your dad? Oh, okay, because I feel fatherly, you see, towards you, and I feel as if you're mine anyway. It's that closeness. And would he have had, if I say a very great influence on you as a child, as in the support of you, the one you could go to and talk to? Okay, because I couldn't quite work out whether it was a dad or a granddad, you see. And if it's your uncle, that's absolutely fine. But I have this feeling from him as well that he encourages you to start to look at where next, okay? And it kind of feels, I know we talked about the new year and we made the joke about, New Year's resolutions and things, but it kind of feels, as he's showing me this, that it's the pathway just opens up in front of you, but it looks a bit daunting because I'm not really sure where now. Here I am standing with an entire landscape and going, oh, which way? But I know that as he talks about this, he was not the sort of person to tell you anything other than follow your truth, follow what's right for you. But don't be afraid to ask for people to help you on the journey. Don't think you've got to do it alone, okay? Because there is a little part of you that is incredibly independent, sometimes to our detriment. And he said, let others help and lift you to a greater height. Now, I don't think this is significant for him, but I hear that song, The Wind Beneath My Wings. And I know that there is the feeling of that song having significance around you and wanting to say to you that the other world not only will lift you, but people in this life must be allowed that chance. Okay? All right, sweet. Oh, well. Is Mum still here? Because I keep feeling about Mum and him wanting to talk about your mum. Okay? So let me just see why he's mentioning a mum. Okay. Because I have this feeling as he's talking here and as he's making me aware of this, I keep feeling as if I want to say to you about Mum's love, Mum's support. Okay? And oh, no. Her, that's all right then. That's good, because I'm thinking, that's weird, because I don't feel she's over there. Where is she? Where have you gone? So, but there's this love and this support where Mum's concerned as well. Okay, that's fine. Because I was thinking, why are you talking about Mum being here? So there is this love and there is this support and there is this bond. And I know that there is this feeling that as you have been there for Mum, let Mum also be there for you. Okay? Again, the love that you have there is strong, and you know nothing would separate us. But again, we need to allow things to be right. Okay. Would your uncle have ended up passing with a problem where the breathing became very, very problematic for him? Okay, but would you know someone here that has had problems with their breathing recently? And it's like, if I go into the cold, it takes my breath, I can't get it. Okay, it's around you. Because I have this feeling of wanting to protect that and to nurture the chest and nurture the strength and nurture, okay, and do what... he's funny. Your uncle would be very funny as well. He'd take the tittle out of things. Because he's laughing and going, oh, you can go and make your breath better. But there's in that joke that he's having, there's a thing about strengthening the breath and needing to strengthen the lungs. You understand? And there are breathing exercises. Has someone given you breathing exercises before? Okay. And are we doing them? No. So didn't need to answer that one. It was a quick answer. It's there. But just will you go back, because I feel there's this there. I also feel would your grandmother have sung? But I don't feel necessarily sung professionally, but she would have loved to have sung, and you'd always think of her singing, because I know that I have this feeling of better be careful, I'll put that, a good set of lungs on your grandmother, not only for singing, but also, she wouldn't have needed a microphone anywhere to be heard. She'd be heard wherever she is. But I know that as I'm aware of her, I also feel this thing about singing, and that you enjoy singing around the home so much, not so much necessarily going out and about and doing it. But again, I feel that's when I start to feel this as well, that I'm like, I can't even get to the end of a sentence. Okay? So again, they're aware of it, and again, you can come here and have lovely healing for that, which would be wonderful, but also strengthen, because it's a muscle. It's about what's happening with the muscles as well. Okay. Not that I'm giving medical advice, I'm just telling you what the other world say. I don't want to get shot. But I just know that. Would you have also known people that owned land that would have been like farming connections as well, or have I moved from you? Oh, okay, that's fine. Because I'm aware of being out in country settings and where there are people even that have like the grousey shoots and all of that going on as well. Okay, so that makes sense with him. Because oh dear. He would have understood that and accepted that's how life needed to be. But I know that you would think, why should anything have to be shot for pleasure? Okay, and I know there would be a difference in thought, and when you were younger there would have been conversations that were a little like that would have gone on. But he said, it's the way of the land at the time, so that's how he'd be. But I get the feeling from him here that as he touches on that, he maybe thinks a little differently now. Okay, so you see, he's still learning and he's still growing. He would say to you, oh, I'm perfect, but he knew he wasn't. Okay, but he laughs and jokes about being perfect. He knew he was imperfect, and imperfections. Okay, so let me leave his love and his love to Mum as well, because there's this love that's there for her and support that's there for her. Would you understand where the name Peter connects as well, please? Okay, because I just heard it called out as I was moving away there. And Leslie. Okay, so they were just called out. So wherever they place, there's love and energy that goes around them. Okay, so let me leave his love with you. You are funny. Did he used to ride a bike? Because he's you know when you pump tyres with that kind of pump, and then he's going have this, and he's popping it in your mouth and then pumping like that, going, I'll sort your lungs out. That's the sort of silly thing he would do, thinking it was funny. He said, I'll sort your lungs out. Not like that. So again, but that's how he would be. When it was serious, he'd bring in a joke to make it humour. Okay, so let me leave his love with you and say God bless. Tina. Is there a Tina here? Nobody's called Tina here. Okay, that's my mum's name. Bear with me 1 second. Oh, hang on a second. That doesn't connect around you, though, does it, Tina? No. Okay, I'm aware of a lady calling out that name, so I don't know whether that's her name at this moment. But I'm aware of a lady here, and as I see her, I feel this is grandmother, so I don't think grandmother's generation, it's Tina. But I feel that Tina must connect into the person that I want to link to. And this grandmother, as I'm aware of her, is not a very tall lady. If she's even 5 foot, I will be surprised. She's quite short, and I know with this lady that she's ended up with a cancer condition, but I feel it started in the stomach and then it moved. Who would understand that with grandmother? Don't worry about the Tina for the moment. You'd understand that. And would you understand where a Tina, not necessarily to your grandmother, but would connect around you at all? Okay, bear with me 1 second. But this would be your grandmother. Yes? Okay, bear with me 1 second. Can I just ask you something? Did your mum and your grandmother, did they have a good relationship but sometimes was a difficult relationship? Sometimes it could be good, sometimes it could be not so good. Right, that's why, because my mum and nan had difficulty at times. So I know here that as grandmother's coming in, I feel that there is a lot of bringing love. And if I say it in an apologetic way, I wish things had been easier for you. Because I feel, bless you, I feel that this dynamic was not easy for you to be around at times. Okay? And you know, when we talk about people, you know, it's between us, but it affects everybody. And I know here that Nan's bringing in this sense of saying, you know, I wish we had been more understanding. Now, when I say we more understanding, she refers to her and Mum, not you, okay? Because there is a sensitivity that has always been there with you since young, you understand? And has made it sometimes difficult to deal with people and deal with people's emotions and people that are in high emotional states. I just don't want to go there, okay? But I know that as Nan comes in here, there is a sense of saying, but I'm here to cheerlead and support you. I'm here to try and spur you on to bring out the best in you, okay? I'm not opening up your life, so don't panic that things are going to be said on the platform that you're going to go, oh, let the world swallow me whole. But I get this feeling of shying away from things. You know, when we had in our talk earlier and saying that sometimes because of what we think other people and what if it doesn't work and there's this holding back in life, okay? And at times it's held you back. But I know here that your Nan's kind of coming in to say, do you know what? Everything is out there for you. And who cares what other people think? It's what you think that matters here, okay? And there's a real sense of wanting to encourage you and support you, and do you know your Nan would be honest to the point of being a bit hurtful at times. Okay, brutal is fair enough. You said brutal, I didn't. Because it's you know, in her mind, she was brought up in a way that you were challenged to rise and grow. So in her day, if you were told off, it would try and make you be better. But actually, it has the opposite effect. When you're sensitive and someone starts telling you off, you go smaller, not bigger in your desire and your dream, because you listen to it and think she must be right, rather than saying I'm going to prove you wrong. Okay, but I know here that as she brings this, there is a softness to what she brings now. There is an encouragement and saying, you know, you've got all this, go for it, go for it, go for it. Okay, there must be anniversaries that connect here in April, please. So this can be passings as well as birthdays.
In her son's
Okay.
70th.
Okay, is that around the 13th?
I believe it's the 17th.
Oh, okay. I'm going to take it as being close enough. We're in the middle. I'll have 13th and 17th. I keep seeing 13th as well. So can you think about the 13th, or watch what happens around the 13th of April if it's not, because I kept seeing that. I kept seeing it on the calendar. So just be aware of whatever happens on that date, whatever it may be. But I know here as well this excitement. Have you started dipping your toe in the water more and more to do with spiritualism? Not just coming here, but thinking, I'm going to do some things. I'm going to see what can come from it. Okay? And this is where I want to keep encouraging you and say, do that to whatever anyone else is saying, and just keep going for what you feel and know is right. Okay? And you do what we all do in development. You go, I don't know whether I'm going to trust that, so I'm not going to say it. And then afterwards someone says it and you think, I had that. Trust and say it. Trust and say it. And let it come. Because I know in your family there has been interest in this movement, but not necessarily a commitment to it. Okay? But I know that this is something here that has become something more, and you can't ignore it anymore. Okay? And I feel that your grandmother would have known of this movement, but would not necessarily have invested the time and the energy. Okay, and in some respects, she could have been good at this kind of thing, but she couldn't balance out the way she felt about other things. Okay, but I know here within you and around you, there is something that the spirit world are very interested in. So trust in that, okay? And listen to the guidance. You get a real flow of thought that sometimes comes into your head from the other world, and you go, where's that coming from? Write it down. Put down your... There's again, a bit like my lady over there, we keep having all these good ideas about I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and then we don't do it. Have a pen and paper, have a notebook always around. So whenever you get a thought, whenever you get an inspiration, whenever you hear or see anything, you make note of it, because the other world are trying to show you something in what they're giving you, but it's bigger than what you see in the little section. So will you just be aware of that and just keep going? Take the dogged determination of your grandmother. Okay, and just take that. Take the strength, take that encouragement. Don't worry about Don't worry about having to tell other people. Just do you and be you. Okay? And would you have known people that had, now again, this might not be your grandmother, but would you know people that had Pekingese dogs? You know, like the little fluffy Chinese dogs. Bear with me 1 second. Hang on. Did your grandmother have lots of ornaments? And there'd have been ornaments of dogs? Because I get the feeling I'm seeing, do you know I don't know whether you know, but Bezic used to do all these dog statues, and they used to do horses and all sorts of things. But I get the feeling that I've got dog statues because there was a love of dogs, there was a love of animals that was there. Not that we always had them, but that there was a lot of love of them. Okay, but we remember this has been talked about a Pekingese because it's an unusual dog. Okay. Go away and Google Pekingese dogs, and then just watch where they turn up, okay? Because I just feel there's a connection that comes in there as well. So you remember it's being said. And then if you suddenly, the next time you're out walking, you stumble across a Pekingese, you'll go, well, look at that, a Pekingese, and you'll know what one looks like as well. So, Jessie, I'm just pulling it. But immerse yourself, embrace, and enjoy. All right? And is Mum still here? Okay. Can you pass on the fact that Nan has come in with a different sense of attitude and nature and brings in love and affection for Mum? Okay? I know it may not be an easy conversation, but I know it's an important one that needs to be had. Or even, if you can, drag her here and let Mum and Nan have the conversation directly. But I know it's important because I feel like Nan wants to know that things are settled and not left in that uncomfortable state. All right? So let me leave that with you with her love and affection. When she hugged, she did hug properly. Okay? Big hug. But I want to put that around Mum as well, where it wasn't always as easy to. All right? So let me leave that with you and say God bless. And ladies and gentlemen, because I know he's itching to get up, I'd like to say, I can feel him now, I can feel the crook coming. On behalf of both myself and those in the spirit world, let me say thank you and God bless for your love and support, and good morning. Well, good afternoon now. I've gone over the midday.
Thank you very much, Mark.
You're welcome.
Now move on to our notices. Tomorrow night we have our healing team meeting here. It's the Healing Development Group. So for all the church registered healers, if you're here for about 10 to 7, anybody wishing to receive healing, if you're here between 7:15 and 7:30. So these healing evenings will always be on the 2nd and 4th Monday of the month. Our healing hours on the Wednesday at 3 o'clock are on the 1st and the 3rd. So every week we have a dedicated healing session, one time during the daytime, one time during the evening hours. On Tuesday evening, Scania Price is having a gong bath here. I believe there are a couple of tickets available. These you need to purchase totally separately on her website. And I would advise, when you're searching Scania Price on the Google, to put in the price, all right? Because otherwise you will just end up with pages and pages of trucks, as I keep finding out. So just search Scania Price and all the links are on there. This Wednesday, 3 o'clock, we have a Divine Style service, so similar format to today's service, and it'll be myself that's taking that. Also on Wednesday, online on Zoom, we are trialling a workshop, and that's being taken by Stephen Trolland, who is a CSNU and a teacher certificate holder. It's a 3-hour Zoom session online for beginners on their path to mediumship. We're trying out different things this year. If they work, great. If they don't work, absolutely fine. Try something else. Tickets are available online for £15 for that session. Friday morning, live here in the church. Doors open at 10:45 and close at 11:15, where we hold our monthly bereavement group. And just remember, please, you don't need to be in those stages of bereavement around the now. Bereavement is something that can follow us throughout our lives. So if you feel like being in that environment with other people in similar situations, I never say the same because they are never the same, but similar situations where you can talk and express your feelings. So that's this Friday. There is no charge for that, but of course any voluntary contributions will be gratefully received. Little reminder, everybody who has signed up for Brian Walker's Energy Healing Workshop Part 2, that is this coming Saturday, starts at 10 o'clock, so if you're here for 9:30. Saturday evening, live on Zoom, we're having an evening with Angela Foster, and she'll be talking about the history of the Spiritualist Lyceums. Next Sunday mediums are to be confirmed, but the service will be at 11 o'clock, and again a similar format to today's service. On Monday the 31st, we have 2 private sittings available with Angie Freeland. That is at 6 and at 6:30 in the evening. If you want to book one of those, just give me a shout after the service. We offer meditations online, Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock, Monday evenings at 7 o'clock. Just going forward a wee bit, on Saturday the 5th of February, so that is Saturday week, we have the first of our guests staying here within the church for the weekend, and we've got the lovely Orisha Pauline Webber coming up from Newton Abbot. So on the Saturday she is holding a workshop entitled Colour and Your Mediumship, and I'm advised that is open to all levels. Orisha will also be here on the Sunday the 6th to take our service, again a divine style service as today, and after which there will be 4 private sittings available with Orisha. And again, if you'd like to book or inquire more, please see me after the service. I will now stop waffling, Lawrence, as the mug says, and thank you.
I think your notices were very succinct.
I thought they were very long as well.
It's because you're so busy and doing so well.
Just a quick reminder as well, as you notice, we've not gone back to hymn books at this time. Where possible, we're reducing transmission risks, and also with the style of music changing. Also, we do not hand the collection plate around, but I would draw your attention to it for any voluntary donations up there by the complimentary water we offer. I will now hand over to Mark for the closing blessing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So once more, let us close our eyes and open our hearts and minds in prayer. Gracious and divine Spirit, we thank you for this time that we have shared together, for the closeness of our spirit friends and family and loved ones. And we ask that this love and this power, this healing that we have all experienced here in this place, reaches out into the world, and that each and every person here take that healing with them. Take that light with them, that inspiration with them, and share it with the world. Let us not keep our love and healing to ourselves, but allow us to be open to share that love, that experience, that healing and that knowledge with all that we meet, so that we may enlighten and enrich their lives, that we may make them feel more loved, more cared for, listened to and heard in this world, and seen in this world. And we thank you for this church and all that it does, and we ask that the love and the healing power blesses each and every person here, blesses their families and the world as a whole. Allow us, as always, to go out into the world grateful for all that we have. And we thank you for all that has been, for all that is, and all that is yet to come in a wonderful open future, where potential and spirit is infinite and limitless in its power, and is all there waiting to support us and take us forward. And we thank you for this love, this care and this support, as always with love and gratitude in our hearts. Amen.
Amen. Mark, thank you so much. Absolutely beautiful service. I hate to say as always, because each service is unique and absolutely wonderful. Everybody here, thank you so much for joining us today. It's just so nice seeing this church brimming where it should be. Have a safe and wonderful day, and look after each other and look after yourselves too. God bless everybody, and goodbye.
Thank you, Laurie. Oh yes, please. White, no sugar.